Hello everyone, you are on the In Google Sheets channel. Today we have our 7th lesson on Google Sheets. In this lesson, we will talk about the SUMIF and COUNTIF functions. First, we'll break down their structure, how to use them, and where they apply. Well then, let's get started. Here we go. So let's assume we have a table with sellers, a certain product, and an amount. Let's delete what we did in the previous video and remove the summation function we wrote. Now, we'll set it up so that when a specific name is selected, the corresponding amount appears. From the previous lesson, you remember that we had a function that assigned a product based on the selected name. We'll copy it and do the same thing, but this time for the amount. If it's Nicholas, the amount will be 100. If it's Donald, it will be 200, and so on. Pay attention to the fact that I am using numbers here. If we enclose values in quotation marks, they are treated as text. However, in this case, we are dealing with numerical values. This is an important distinction to keep in mind. You can't just enter numbers in quotation marks. Doing so will turn them into text rather than actual numbers. Now let's press enter. The table suggests automatically applying the formula. Let's do this. The formula has been extended, but let's make it so that if there's no value here, the formula doesn't work. If A2 is not empty, then we execute our function. Otherwise, the cell remains blank. Press enter and check. Extend it where there are no values. Done. It works. The data is filled in. Now, press Ctrl plus C to copy, then press Ctrl plus Shift plus down twice to select all the remaining cells, and press Ctrl plus V to paste. This way, we've inserted all our formulas up to the end of the table. Now the formulas are everywhere, and now let's say we select our employees each time, each day, enter, data, and so on. That is, we'll be assigning them sales. Let's add and adapt the formula here, just like before, and now extend it all the way down. It works. Now, for example, I want to get statistics on each of my employees, those who made sales. I want to see their sales statistics, how much they sold, the number of products, the total sales amount for each employee. Let's select one, then the second and the third here. For now, let's stop at 3, no need for more. Since we need two values, quantity and total amount, we will add one more column for each. Like this. Here, we will have total amount, and here, quantity. And so on for each one. Now let's write our formula, SUMIF. The first argument of our function is the range where we need to look for a certain value. In our case, it's Nicholas. We select the column A, range. Next, the second argument is what we are looking for. We can either type the name directly or simply reference the cell where it is written. Let's learn to do things correctly right away and reference the cell instead of typing text manually. The third argument is the range with numbers that we need to sum. In our case, that's column C. Let's select it, close the parentheses, press enter, and we get Nicholas's total, 400. Now let's manually check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each is 100. 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100. Nicholas can't have any other totals. Now we can copy this formula, but be careful. When we copy the formula for John, it automatically adjusts based on its position. That means Google Sheets shifts the references according to the relative positions of the original formula. In our case, we can prevent this from happening. How? Before copying, we add $signs to the first formula. This locks column A, preventing it from shifting when the formula is copied. We do the same for column C. So, we add the $signs, press enter, and now let's test it. Everything works. We don't lock this reference because we want the range to shift, since John is in G1. Now, we do the same for Donald. Now all totals are correctly displayed. Donald is in I1, John is in G1, Nicholas is in E1. Everything is correct. The fixed columns did not shift. Now let's do the same, but for counting sales, instead of summing them. If we want to count how many products were sold, we only need two arguments, the range we want to count, the criteria, which is our seller's name. We lock the range, close the parentheses, press enter, and we see 4 sales. Now we copy the formula to other cells for the other employees. Now we can see how many products each person sold, both in total sales amount and quantity. Let's freeze the top 2 rows and test adding new sales. Elon is not participating. Nicholas appears correctly. Donald appears correctly. John appears correctly. Everything calculates automatically. I think it's all clear. These formulas are quite simple, but with them you can start building your own analytical reports. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't want to miss new videos, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.